Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Cool Colas here to bring you the hustler's perspective. I hope everybody's having a good day today. I got a really cool topic here for you guys. It's a little bit different than some of the stuff that I've talked about in recent. A lot of it is kind of mental things, but here's something that's a little bit more basic, but something that's basic information related to just financial wealth and things like that. So the topic I want to talk to you all about today is the difference between saving and investing. So a lot of you all are probably wondering why I chose this topic, which I always tell you every single video that you watch. So the first thing that I want to kind of point out is that I think wealth is extremely important as a topic, and it's something that you should do while you're young and while you can get the information so accessibly the way that you get it watching videos, that I can try to provide it for you. I think there's too much of a lack of awareness for the importance of understanding financial intelligence, and I think that's an issue as well too. And I think there's a need to begin by discussing the basics. And there's like always this trend that's going on where people are using the terms saving and investing interchangeably, and I think that's an issue because they're two different things that mean two totally different things. And I think it's best that I point out in a more constructive and a more simplistic way how these two things are different. Another thing that I think is important is that I think that there needs to be a focus on learning or knowing the basis of how to make your money grow. I think a lot of people talk about how can they keep as much money as possible, which is cool and is very important. So don't get me wrong on that. I think that's a very basic step. But I think we also need to talk about what it would take for you to grow your money in the way that you would want to see it grow. So basically you're getting a return on investment more so. But anyway, let's jump into this topic a bit here. Kind of wanted to give you all a brief introduction. I wanted to talk to you all first about budgeting. I think budgeting is talked about so much, and I think budgeting is a good thing, but the problem, and I think that what I'm going to try to present to you all in this conversation here, is that budgeting is a bit limited. And it's a bit limited because budgeting basically consists of having your finances and then trying to cut back on maybe expenses that you have or purchases that you make, and then having enough money. And I think the general purpose of me saying that, and the reason why I paused when I said having enough money, is because I think the general purpose tends to be because someone is saving, or I guess like holding up a certain amount of money so they can use it for the right purchase or the right time or whatever it is that they're using. So I think it's putting away funds so that you have a general purpose of using those funds later down the line. So really, you're kind of just having this practice of trying to avoid frivolously spending your money. So I think what budgeting does is it allows you to cut back a little bit, and allows you to cut back on your money based off of your expenses versus how much money that you actually make. So you could be spending a lot of money and maybe you want to cut back on that, or maybe the money that you have that you're setting aside, you're going to want it for a certain purpose. But I think budgeting is a very good beginning step, especially if you're not very financially intelligent. But I think that budgeting needs to be taken a step further. So in other words, if you're going to budget your money, what are you doing with your money? So are you trying to make your money grow, or are you just trying to save your money for a certain time when it is the right time in your mind to use it? So those are some things to kind of think about when you're thinking about the budgeting process and kind of scaling back on a lot of your finances. First thing I want to talk to you all about, and this is kind of, again, the decipherence between the two topics I discussed earlier, is saving. So with saving, it's better than spending your money frivolously, spending your money on silly things, things that you don't need, like very extravagant things as well too. Like saving is something that's better than just taking your money and just throwing it away. So we can kind of establish that before I get into my real points here. I think it's a great first attempt at budgeting your money, like as far as like financial responsibility. So I think that when you're saving your money, you are you're starting the process of being financially responsible by taking your money, and you're basically saying, hey, I need to kind of be careful of what I'm spending my money on and making sure that my money is used with value. So I guess what saving does is it allows you to put that money basically aside that you could have just kind of wasted away. So those are the positive things that we can kind of look at as far as saving goes. But let's kind of take a deeper look at some of the things that are hindered because of your saving, or your, I guess, methods of saving, how they can like hinder you. So the first thing is, I think that a lot of people have different methods of how they save. What I've seen is, I've seen people take cash, which is a hard asset, so that there's no denying that. But they've been taking cash and they've been stuffing it under the bed, or whatever bed that they have, for basically a rainy day or for whenever they may need it. I've seen some people, of course, put it in banks, which is the most traditional way I think most people know. And I think I've seen some people put them in credit unions. So there's just different methods, and then there's online banks as well too, and I'll get to that in a minute. So I think that there's a problem that lies with the perspective of trying to save that people don't really realize. So the first thing I think is that there's a big misconception, and that misconception is of what putting money away or putting money aside will really do for you. I think that people believe that it's a safe thing to do, that is going to help them in the long run, and that it will still make their money, so they're not really losing it, and they're not losing it because they don't have the bad habit of frivolously spending it. So I think that that's like one problem that I think I have with the perspective of saving. The second is that because of that misconception, they don't understand what they're really getting themselves into. The truth of the matter is when you save your money, you're actually devaluing its buying power. And the reason why you're devaluing its buying power is because of this thing that we call inflation. So because of inflation, which goes up, it's 3 to 5% every year. I think on average it's 3.22%, but it rises. So basically the cost of things, anything basically that you would even buy, would rise because of inflation. So what that means is that your money, so for example, and I'm just giving you a very kind of crazy example, so don't kind of like hit me too hard because of this. So let's say that you have a $5 bill and you just want to save it because you don't want to use that $5 bill, and then you have, for example, a purchase you want to make, like you want to go to the store and you want to buy a couple candy bars and that costs $5 right now. But then you're like, yeah, I'm going to, instead of like, buying those candy bars now, maybe I can just buy it a little bit later. So I'll just save this $5 now and then maybe put a little bit more money in later. So let's say that there's a dramatic inflation, just giving you an example once again. And then all of a sudden they say the price of like all those candy bars you had together is going to go up by 50%. And again, I'm just kind of giving you an example, and a very dramatic one as well too. So at that point, if the price is going to go up by 50%, that means that those candy bars are going to be $7.50. So that $5 bill that you had where you said, hey, I'm just going to buy these candy bars a little bit later and I'll just, kind of do what I do with my money. You can't buy it anymore at that point because you're going to be $2.50 short. So you're not going to be able to buy those candy bars that were originally $5. Now that value is $7.50. Essentially, that's kind of what happens in our world, basically. So the prices of things increase, and then the prices or the amount of our money, like the buying power of our money, is not increasing, especially if we're saving and if we're not doing anything to try to make our money increase and work for us. So that's essentially what inflation does, and I think people have those that have that misconception, and I think those two perspectives that I gave you are the issue that I have with saving itself. But then let's break it down kind of in a bigger sense as well too. So when you think about when you put money in your bank, really you're losing money. The reason why you're losing money is because the appreciation rates per year for if you keep your money in a savings account in most banks is going to be pretty low. And when I say banks, I'm talking about the banks that you go into, like your Huntingtons and Chases and places like that. So when you go into those banks, a lot of them are going to have like fees for just little kind of silly things like withdrawals and deposits and things like that. Well, probably not deposits, but you get what I mean. There's going to be a lot of fees kind of associated with a lot of things that you do within your account. So with that being said, your money is stalemated. So it's stalemated because it doesn't have any power staying the same when you put it in there, which is what you thought was the whole purpose of the bank and having money in the bank. But there was supposed to be, and a lot of, I think, banks do this. They have like appreciation rates for certain savings accounts, like special savings accounts. And if you keep your money in there and maybe do some things here or there, then your the prices of your money will raise, which is to me, it's not going to raise very much. So I think that what people miss is that you're really losing money, because with that combination of the fact that you have fees that are applied when you make certain when you do certain things with your account, you really actually are losing money because of these banks that don't really have good appreciation rates to kind of help out your money and make your money grow. The next kind of piece of this that people don't realize is the idea of credit unions, which credit unions are a little bit better than banks, because there are some credit unions who do a really good job of giving you better appreciation rates per year. For example, I have Lake Michigan Credit Union. Lake Michigan Credit Union has a max checking account program, and basically, if you have a max checking account, then if you do a couple different things, well, it's not really a couple, it's a lot of different things. You can actually get 3% of an appreciation rate on your money per year. But here's the issue that I have with credit unions. A lot of them, when they have these appreciation rates per year, and it's not going to be high because at Lake Michigan it's like 3% per year, which is one of the higher ones. So that's already crazy right there. What tends to happen is you're gonna have to jump through fire hoops. So basically, you're gonna have to do all these crazy things. Well, and when I say crazy, I'm kind of being dramatic, but you're gonna have to do a lot of stuff in order to make sure that you can secure that 3%. And on top of that, too, the 3% that you're getting is 3% per year. So I mean, like you're getting basically reimbursed this money or given this money per month. So basically, you're taking that 3% and you're dividing it by 12, and that's how much you're getting per month. So keep in mind that your money may change from month to month. So you just got to kind of think about those things too. You're doing a lot of work to just get, I guess, a fourth of like a fourth percent per month, is as long as you do everything you're supposed to do. It's kind of crazy. Online banks, I think, are better than credit unions because you don't really have to do anything. You don't have to do any work. You just have to let your money just sit. So the problem I have with online banks, though, is that their appreciation rates tend to be a lot lower than credit unions do. And I mean, they're better than regular banks, but they're like not as good as like credit unions. So I mean, it's kind of like a give and take. Either way, the point that I'm trying to make about these online banks and these regular banks and credit unions and putting money under the mattress is that there is not enough appreciation of your money so that your money grows by doing minimal things. To me, I feel like it's not a good way for you to make your money grow. Now, I'm not here trying to just present saving in a bad light. I'm just simply trying to open your mind to the possibility of why saving is different than investing, by beginning by telling you how saving kind of works, and then by presenting this idea of inflation to show you that by saving you're not really getting the bang for your buck that you think that you're getting, and that you're really losing value. I wanted to make that very clear. But if you remember in the beginning, I also made the point that saving is a good way of kind of starting that financial responsibility that you need in these processes. So the other thing too, like I said, is that it also stops you, or more so gets you in the mindset of stopping spending your money frivolously. So that's kind of my 2 cents on the saving part. So let me kind of get to the investing part so you all have a better idea of what I think about that. So for investing here, it's a little bit different. Investing is a large way, if as long as you make it that way, a large way to make high profits off of the money that you put into it. So in other words, you're taking your money and you're investing it in these different stocks. So like you can do this manually, or you can do mutual funds, stocks and bonds and things like that. And you're taking your money and you're putting it into all of these things, which essentially are based upon different shares of companies, and how like the economy rises and falls based off of all of these different factors. So investing is a little bit different than saving, because there's not a lot of monitoring that goes into saving, other than the fact that you're putting your money in a bank or a credit union, and then your money is just kind of sits there. And then if you want the appreciation rate, you jump through a couple hoops and you pretty much get it, but it's just not enough to kind of offset that big inflation that happens every year. So anyway, investing gives you the ability to like get high returns basically off your money. So you make good amounts based off of what you put in, depending on how you monitor all of your like stocks, and you see how everything goes, and and things like that. So the thing that I think people get stuck on with investing is the fact that it takes a lot of careful attention. And then if you want to really make a lot of big money, if you're a big person into investing, you have to take risk, and you have to be able to explore these stocks and bonds that are more volatile. And a lot of people don't like that volatility because they don't like the idea of putting their money into something and they possibly lose. So people are more focused a lot of times on the possibility of losing their money versus I guess like the fact that you can get like a high return from like putting your money in these different avenues. So I think what the problem is that, and this is what separates, I guess, like the big issue and the extremity of saving versus investing, is with saving. With saving, you are more so playing it safe, but you're not really getting anything from it. If anything, you're losing from it. Like, you're losing your money, because if you keep your money in, and I don't care what you say or what anybody has to say, if you keep your money in a bank or a credit union or anything like that, chances are you're going to eventually lose your money, or lose at least the buying power of your money. And it's going to happen slowly, and it's going to happen over the years, and things like that. And then the difference is, with investing, you can get high returns depending on how you kind of play your cards on that one a little bit. So I mean, there's definitely a high risk, so there's always the possibility that you could lose a lot of your money as well too. But again, that's why it's a risk, because you could get a lot or you could lose a lot, but you won't know until you actually try it. So the thing about investing is it gives you the possibility of having higher returns, with also the possibility of more risk, but with that risk allowing you to basically make out of the situation positively, instead of playing it safe and then losing regardless. And so that's the picture that I'm trying to paint to people, is that you're really losing your money. You just don't think you are, because you're so focused on the picture that investing is painting to you, because you're thinking, oh, all these people, all these rich people, I mean, they're the only ones who are making money off of the stock market and this and that. And that's not true. There's a lot of like people who are either kind of coming into wealth or want to go into wealth, who are doing really well with that type of like venue. So I think that people have this mentality that is like out of their reach, and that they need to play it safe, because people have been telling them their lives that they need to play it safe. So I guess the point of my video here is just to tell you to or to show you the differences between the two of these methods, and how each one kind of plays out. I mean, I understand that some people will want to learn more information on investing in the stock market before they actually get into something like that. And that's totally understandable, because again, you're going to take a high risk, so you want to be as knowledgeable as possible. But again, and this is the best advice that I was given, of course, like for something like this, is if you're going to monitor so like putting your money in stock and stuff like that, what you want to do is you want to specialize in something that you know very well, and that you're good at, and that you like, that you monitor all the time, because those are the things that are going to help your money the best, because you're going to be the most knowledgeable about it. So that's something that you just want to keep in mind. As far as saving goes, that is the way that everybody does. Like, when I say everybody, I mean like a lot of people, because they need somewhere where they want to keep their money, and they want like something that's convenient, because there's banks all around. There's credit unions around in a lot of places too, not quite as much as banks. And then online banks are, their own thing. They have accessibility no matter where you go. So just keep those things in mind when you're trying to figure out the difference between saving and investing. So anyway, I hope that this video was a little bit informative to you. I hope it gave you a good beginning of what the difference is between saving and investing, and kind of helped you out and taught you something that you may not have really understood or realized before. So if you like this video, then feel free to subscribe to The Hustler's Perspective. If you guys want to find out the latest and greatest details on my Facebook page for this video, then in every video going forward, then feel free to follow me at the Hustler's Perspective YouTube channel. If you guys want to go to my blog, which talks about a lot of the same things that I'm talking about here, then feel free to go to hustlersjackpot.com. If you guys want to follow the Facebook page for my blog, then you can go to the Hustlers Jackpot on Facebook. And if you guys want to go to my business page on Instagram, then you can go to the Hustlers Jackpot. And if you guys would like to follow my personal page on Instagram, then you can go to @coolcolas. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good day. I hope you guys got a chance to really enjoy the video and then learn something new as well too. There's going to be a lot more to come, and I just want to remind you that next week I will be doing the 1 a day for a whole week video promotion. So there will be 1 video each day. So there will be a total of 7 videos for next week. So definitely stay tuned, because there is going to be a lot of really cool information that I'm going to have for you guys to tune into. So I will see you guys later. Keep hustling.